Thank you so much for joining another panel discussion. I love these panel discussions. In fact, I'm thinking to conduct this panel discussions after every 2, 3 months and stop doing one-to-one because there's so many. I am overflowing with the one-to-one. But let's see how it goes. But it's a lot of learning for me as well because in last 6 months I learned a lot, new technologies, new data modeling techniques. A lot thing has changed at my end, and Daniel and Marek knows that wherever I'm working, I can't name the company. Like 3, 4 years back, I converted when I joined this company. There was a data lake and there was a data warehouse. I got an opportunity to be a part of team to convert that into a data lake house. So I had this good experience for last 3 years. Now I'm able to, with my team, propose from centralized to federated approach. Marek and Danny, you remember like 1.5 years back, we started discussing this thing.
This is
So
exactly what we discussed and
yeah,
proposed that. And of course, the whole world will come then
yeah.
to the end.
So I started that thing. So in my company as well, I'm fortunate to able to convince my management up to C level, and now the proposal has been approved. Now we are going toward operationalization. So just to set the context right, this whole session, the idea came from that because once we go from centralized to federated approach, the data product come into picture that everybody will have those small data products concept in their organization. Last time we had one big enterprise warehouse. We used to build it for 2 years. It was a lengthy waterfall thing. Now with new era, there'll be small products. And fortunately or unfortunately, suddenly this AI agents come into picture. Guys, you remember when we started this discussion, AI agent was nowhere there. Right? It just came 6 to 8 months back, which matches with federated approach. Now everybody want to have. So the whole journey of the data world started with silos, which we used to call it decentralized. People went towards centralized. Within centralized, those bottlenecks and operational issues start coming. People want to go back to decentralized, but decentralized, we all know, is silos. The federated approach came in where there is a centralized governance and this new concept coming, which is data practice management team, which will have a blueprint and many other things to support this all data product within the organization, right? And then this data mesh concept, data fabric. So all those things are given. Anything can be expected. Now, when you build this data practice management, someone need to own it. So who is that person? So discussion was it should be CDO, right? Right now, CDO is a chief digital officer as well. Then there is a parallel role, chief analytical officer, and there is a chief data officer. And we all know that these three roles are the roles which keep changing after every 2 years. So that is how this whole discussion came into picture that let's go to the industry leaders and understand what are their experiences, how do they see why these roles. I bundle these three roles together because either it's a CDO, it's a chief digital, or it's a chief analytical, all are doing the same thing where business expect them to deliver something, right? So, okay, here we are. Let's discuss this. Before Marek, you came in and Mark, you came in. I just mentioned these guys that on Mondays, 10 p.m. Malaysian time, I'm speaking for Dama, South Africa, with our friend Howard Diesel. He invited me. So I'm going to talk onto this thing. Same, I have a deck as well, but I won't present my deck now. I will save it for Monday. So, floor is yours. So I'll start with Marek. I'll start with Marek. Uh, because you are directly meeting sea level. So just for our other audience, Marek majorly focus at BI layer. Of course, he delivered the whole piece, but we all know BI layer is directly connected with the end user stakeholders. And that is where I think Marek will talk more on it, that you need to deliver, you need to sell a story, who to sell the story. Ideally, data story should be sold to CDO, right? Who should know, right? So what kind of challenges, Marek, do you face while this role keep changing in the organizations? Oh, you are mute. You are mute.
Thank you very much for giving me the first words. So I really appreciate again. Marek Cernansky is here from Data Tailors. Our specialization is exactly delivering the. Previously, it was called the business intelligence products. Now we call it more analytical platforms. So we are bringing the full stack analytical platforms, starting from the source data, between the transformations of the data, different kind of a data products. I don't know if it's a data product. Somebody told me that the dashboard is a data product. So we're delivering the data products with the kind of an application front end form, and we deliver it first of all to, of course, the board, the investors, and the top management, but later on then also to the technical people and to operational staff, and also on a daily basis data governance stuff. So the new challenges that are at the moment arising or arose in last 6 months exactly are that we are changing the end users of our platforms and the communication to the people, because previously what we were selling and what we were talking about were kind of a data warehouse, everything in one place, and put it on the reporting. Now things changed totally drastically, and what we started to talk about is not the unifying data, but we started to talk about the AI and the results, the answers. So people are thinking about the data proposition not from the point that put my data on one place and create the reports, because they believe they have it already. Now they believe that it didn't change a lot previously. They still don't have it, but they believe they have it because they can use the data anytime they want, and they can ask the questions to the AI, and the AI is giving them sort of an answers. So things change drastically from the perspective of using data on a daily basis, not from the perspective, I want to give the analytical question, therefore I'm building the data warehouse part or the analytical platform, and in that part of I will create the federated sort of a model for that particular answer. They say, no, we have the applications, we have everything, so I want to ask AI and give me the answer now. So we switched to sort of a instant model. I don't know where it will end, but at the moment we are really challenging this kind of a perspective, because this is a new perspective. I mean, I like it, but I had an interview, I think 2 years ago, in one podcast, and they asked me about the BI in the future, and I told them, in the future there won't be any BI, there will be just a prompt, exactly as a Google in '95, when there was all this Alta Vista, Redscape, and blah blah blah, and you had the Google, in '95 or '96, and there was nothing, it was just blank page and the one prompt. So you just wrote something, and it was like bang, in a minute you had everything. So this is exactly what BI will end up in a few years. I'm not sure if this year, next year. So we will end up with kind of a prompt, and there will be a logo of which AI model this kind of a business intelligence model is using. Is it a Google model or a Meta model, or is it a Microsoft model, OpenAI, or is it a combination of the models? So whom am I asking my business questions, and where the charts and the tables are coming from? Where they come from. So this will end, but people think that it's now already happening, and it's not. Of course, it's not happening. So we are in a kind of a transition period where we are still kept on asking, like, what would you like to be your data settled in one platform? We will create that data source with the one model. Yeah, exactly. One centralized data governance with federated models for future AI. And they tell us, no, we want that AI now. We have already this ChatGPT, we already have this chat show. Give us the data and we will create the application tomorrow.
My exact question comes here. Do you see a role of CDO/data guy who can really guide their business users and tell them, hey, this is possible, this is not possible. For me, that is the role of CDO, who should be very near to the technology, data and AI technologies, and tell their business. Do you see that role in your customers at this point in time?
We are turning ourselves into CDOs, sort of an internal CDOs in this moment, because there are there is no history, for these people. There are many really good senior project managers. There are really good senior, product owners. There are really good business owners and senior people. They are already there for 10 years and they are really, really good at that. But they cannot understand what is happening behind the scenes. And that's the major problem now. So we need to turn ourselves into CDOs and explaining even to the technical guys. The technical guys are asking us, just bring us the tables, that's fine. And we will say, no, you need the model. And they say, no, give us the tables. And then we spend 2 weeks just talking about which column to use, which part of the data set use, what are the example, where close, to providing a really proper data. And we told them everything is there. It's in third layer. There is a domain layer and you have the business layer. So use that business. No, we want the source data. So we are acting like CDOs, like this is the governance. You need to use this kind of data and blah blah blah. So it's happening very quickly. And the major problem I can see, there are a lot of young people, finishing the university, because we are also teaching at the university, and they are really eager to use straight away, the models without the data governance, without any proper federation models. So it's a really, really tough discussions then afterwards.
So takeaway from here is you still do not see a proper CDO, when I say CDO, Chief Data Officer role, with a proper data background. So I'm very much into it that Chief Data Officer has to have a data background, not a business background. Because use cases, nobody knows better than business the use cases. It's all about mapping those use cases with the right technology. And technologies are moving so fast within 3 to 6 months that if a person is not there who doesn't know how an engine works, a lot of engines keep coming. There has to be one person who knows how the engine works. Uh, Iterations will keep coming. So let's go towards Daniel. Daniel, what is your experience?
So I would like to pose a question here to the group, all of you. One sentence or two. Do you think there is a risk when the CDO role is associated with the IT organization to make it succeed in what we've just been talking about?
If you ask me, my answer is no. It has to be a custom. Others can also comment on it.
Exactly, no.
Yeah. Or Mark, you go, Mark. What do you think? Is there a risk when the CDO becomes associated with the IT organization, given the context you just provided?
Yeah, if the CDO is there, I can't even imagine the organization where he's there for more than years that are business people. So he's not able, at that moment. I don't believe so. I've never met. Maybe it's just only wrong organizations we're working for.
Yeah.
So this is my opinion, no.
Great.
Yeah,
Your response on this one?
I see. I have a different picture on the role of the CDO and the question from Daniel, if this is a risk, if this role is related to the CIO. So I think, from my point of view, when I take a look on the real organization of large enterprises, maybe they have a kind of a real C-suite, yeah, and a kind of a shadow gang. And the CDO, the chief data officer, the chief data analytics officer, the chief data and AI officer, it's a kind of a part of the shadow gang of the C-suite. And mainly those shadow gang is related, this shadow gang is related to a CIO role. So maybe that answers the question of Daniel. Is this a risk? Yes or no? It depends on the role description and the responsibilities of the role of the chief data officer. And I'm not sure if what you have mentioned, Mustafa, and also Marek has mentioned, that if the case that centralized data